Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, legislative leadership responds to the new Republican health care plan. And we'll look at a new report that focuses on workplace harassment. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Democratic State Senator Katie Hobbs announced today that she's running for Secretary of State next year, citing, quote, persistent debacles plaguing the office under Republican Michelle Reagan. Hobbs is currently the Senate Minority Leader. She's the first major Democrat to announce a challenge to Reagan, though Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton has also expressed interest in the office. Reagan is expected to launch her re-election bid next month. Each week we speak with legislative leaders and discuss a variety of issues making news at the Capitol. We rotate between the two parties, and this week we hear from the Republicans. Joining me is Senate Majority Leader Kimberly Yee and House Majority Leader John Allen. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. Let's get things started with the Republican plan to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. There are many facets involved here, but as far as Arizona is concerned, the issue of Medicaid is huge. Talk to us about what the plan is, how it affects Arizona.
This Monday, House Speaker Paul Ryan released his plan for Republicans regarding the Affordable Care Act. And it has received interesting response from Republicans, even among the base Republicans and those who are described as the established Republicans. Even the White House has indicated with that plan they would like to see some amendments. So it's an interesting proposition, and we're going to have to watch and see very carefully where it goes. The
proposition as it stands, though, seems to suggest that a bit of a freeze come 2020, 2021. Again, in Arizona, we depend quite a bit on the federal government as far as Medicaid expansion and coverage is concerned. How does this affect us?
Well, and like Kimberly was saying, I think there's going to be some changes as they come along. Tell you the truth is, I think our caucus would love to see this come back to the states as a block grant. If you look at what we've done in access, not just with what the expansion has done, but overall with Medicare and Medicaid, we're a very good state to say, wait a minute, if we vest this money back into the states and let them manage it, they know their constituents and the needs better than the feds do. And I think we can come up with a better system than this top-down that the feds have started.
Are you talking about block grants with caps to them?
Well, if that's what we need to make sure that we don't have spiraling costs. But you know what? This new system already took almost $1 trillion out of our economy. I'm sure we can find some cost savings by eliminating some of the federal bureaucracy which we created.
It sounds like the new plan would be based on enrollees, especially the disabled, elderly, adults, kids, the whole 9 yards here, but it sounds more per capita than block grant. Is that accurate?
I think it's important to ensure that whatever moves forward continues to maintain the patient first. And so what will be critical is to establish relationships with every state to be able to customize whatever the plan is according to our independent needs. In Arizona, we are very unique from other states. We have a high rural area, and that capacity is something we've got to wrap our arms around, which is unique from other states. At the same time, Arizona has a highly urban area that we have to focus on where those needs are very uniquely different. So I believe that the feds should definitely take a look at how they're going to establish the conversation with the states.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, very much so.
Okay, as it stands right now, as it stands, because that's all we have to work with right now, would more Arizonans lose coverage with this than they have with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, and that's the thing. We're so early in the process. If we dice this too closely, I think we'd be given answers that are irrelevant next week. I mean, because this is the first step out by the speaker on saying, look, this is where I think we should go. And I know the White House hasn't fully weighed in on the whole process yet. And there's so many parts of it. That was the problem with Obamacare to start with. It was so complicated. Unraveling it is going to be a complicated process.
Criticisms of Obamacare, the criticism was also that it was rushed. I mean, they're starting hearings here. The CBO hasn't had a chance to look at this thing, isn't it? It seems like there's a rush job going on right now.
I think it's important, though, to respond to the constituents. And as we know that all of the states came together saying the plan isn't working. So we have to look at this very quickly and very carefully, of course. But to drag their feet wouldn't be a good thing. And so I think what they're doing is they're putting forward a proposal that will be changed in the course of the next several weeks. And I think what they need to do is ensure that there will be a stakeholder process to involve everyone so that they will be able to have their voice in the plan that moves forward.
How is this paid for if there's no mandatory insurance?
It'll be important to see how the states will be able to put some money into it, as well as the federal government. It is a partnership, obviously, but we also have to remember that there is a private sector that has some responsibility.
Again, who's going to pay for all this? And if the governments, federal government, state, private sector, if everyone ponies up X amount of dollars, how is this any better off than what we have now?
Well, and that remains to be seen. I mean, this is not what I would consider the perfect proposal. I would like to see much more, health savings accounts, catastrophic care, sort of get the rest of the market much more driven by real costs. I mean, you can't go to a hospital and find out what anything even costs today. So how are you supposed to shop what you're going to get and things like that? There's a lot more to be done. It's really too early in the game to say this is going to be the final product.
The Phoenix Coyotes, their local hockey team, in case you...
Yes.
Yeah, sent a letter to leadership and basically said, give us a new arena or we're adios. What are your thoughts on that?
So this is an issue that is very near and dear to me because I represent Phoenix and Glendale. So there are a number of constituents who have already paid for this in the city of Glendale. And we have had that proposal there on the books for over a decade. And so all of a sudden today or yesterday, we see that the NHL commissioner said, if you don't pass this Senate proposal that provides public financing for a brand new arena in an area that we choose, we will move the team out of the state. My response is that that letter may not have received the response they were looking for. In fact, it may be the opposite of what they choose. And the sort of that veiled threat has not been received well at the Capitol today.
You agree with that?
Yeah, and even though it was a little more friendly, when they moved into the stadium they're in now, they made many of the same economic arguments now they're making to get out of it and saying they need to go somewhere else. So if we build something more to their liking now, in 5-6 years, are we going to be looking at another letter from the league saying, well, wait a minute, Prescott's the place, and so they're going to leave a pretty big commitment left over in Glendale on what they owe for that facility that it is. If the league wants to pay that off first, which I also represent some of that city, I would like to see that first. Let's have a good faith, squaring of the books, and then we can talk about a next facility. But in the world of choices in which we have to make at the legislature, with kids in foster care, group homes, and education issues and stuff like that, it's hard to give too much credence to a threat like that.
And there is a bill, there's an idea, Senator Worsley has this idea regarding basically these community engagement districts, which the money is paid off. They get to sales tax revenue, basically, for construction and this whole thing. The cost of the state's $225 some odd million. Cost of the Coyotes to build the arena, $170 million. I think the host city throws in 50 or some odd million. Is there an appetite for these community engagement districts in general?
Well, first I'd like to, support Senator Worsley for his efforts because he really has been working very hard on this issue. He presented the proposal to the Republican caucus a couple of weeks ago and the Democrat caucus. And it was very interesting to see the questions that were raised. What we learned from both caucuses and their discussion is that we cannot count more than 2 votes on this bill if it was to put up on the board for a third read vote. I spoke with my colleague, Minority Leader Katie Hobbs, just this afternoon, and I asked her, what's the temperature on this now that we have this new letter? She said she can still only count a maybe 1 from her caucus, and I'm pretty sure Senator Worsley's going to vote for his own bill.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? But, okay, let's take them at their word. They're going to go move to Portland or Seattle or who knows where. The impact on the local economy, the impact on the local image.
And that might be true. If their math is correct, and I think they think they're going to be able to have a $600 million impact, then they should be able to find the coalition of the willing to do a private venture to do very much what they're doing without the public money. If they believe that there's that much economic gain to be had, and they can prove those numbers, or at least really kind of get some buy-in, they should be able to do it without us. And so the fact that they turn to the public with these staggering economic numbers kind of doesn't ring true. Plus, they could always move back to talking stick. I mean, why don't we? That's where they came out of, is back when it was America West Arena, and that is much closer to what they think is a viable area for them to thrive in. Well, why not retreat back to where you came from instead of building a whole nother facility somewhere else?
I think the Phoenix Suns have a little bit of a say in that, and they don't sound all that excited about sharing any arena.
Well, one thing that is lost in this conversation is that the city of Glendale is still embracing the stay of the Coyotes in their stadium, and I think that in their arena, it's very important. I had hosted a meeting of the two parties last Thursday. I saw that they were meeting independently with individual legislators, and I said to both parties, you cannot negotiate with legislators when you have a contract before you and you have to really take a look at your issues face to face. So after I mentioned that in the press, they actually called and they said, okay, we're ready to meet. It was an interesting meeting. What the Coyotes, still want to be out of the area because of demographics and other things that they feel aren't good in the West Valley. But at the same time, Glendale had some new ideas to offer the team, things that weren't in play 13 years ago when they had the first contract. And I think that is something that needs to be looked at even further. And I actually committed that maybe tourism dollars should be promoted to enhance the sports areas, and that's something that is tourism related.
So is this, they say either we get someplace else or we're gone. As Senator Yee says, could there be a compromise? Could they stay in Glendale?
I've heard that the language since this letter has come a little bit more to reason at the league. This kind of hit like a thump, and the governor didn't like it. Neither body liked it very much. It's not. I don't think they're such a hot commodity that really threaten too much. I mean, if they want some assistance in fixing their problem, fine. But if they don't want any assistance, what can we do? We have plenty of other places that we could spend $200 million.
Scale of 0, they're out of here. 10, they stay.
I think they'll stay. I think they're at 10, they'll stay.
Do you think they're going to stay, even in Glendale?
I do.
0 to 10.
Well, I think that the message should be that we want them to stay. They are part of our economy, and we have a fan base here that wants them to stay. So let's work out a deal. We have already invested taxpayer dollars in Glendale. Let's work out a deal.
0 to 10. 0, they're gone. 10, they stay.
I hope that they are able to stay.
8?
Well, that's an average of 5.
All right, then we'll give you a 5. Good to have you both here.
Thank you very much.
And up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear about a new report on workplace harassment.
Become a news source for the Arizona PBS Public Insight Network. Your ideas and insights can help us create relevant and distinctive reporting. Join now at azpbs.org/pin.
The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission recently issued a report about harassment in the workplace. This after an EEOC task force conducted a year of hearings on the issue. Among the findings, workplace harassment is as prevalent as ever. Here now to talk about the report is attorney Jeff Brodeen of Brodeen HR Law. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thanks, Ted.
Good to have you here. As prevalent as ever, what is going on? People go to seminars, they get training. Every employee in the private workplace and certainly in government, they're taught, don't do this, do this. What's going on?
Clearly, there's some states mandate training every 2 years for leaders. California does, and what's become clear is that training, the approach that's being taken by employers is just not working. 30 years it's been that harassment's been illegal under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and yet it seems like the efforts that have been taken to this point haven't done anything. And the EOC noticed that, the commissioners, and that's why they thought we got to take a look at this and we have to figure out, really, they put the term on how we can reboot workplace harassment prevention efforts. And so that's what the study first looked at. Where are we? What does this really look like? What's really going on? And then secondly, what can we do about it? What creative things can we come up with about new ways to approach it?
Before we go any further, define workplace harassment.
Well, they didn't look at a legal standard for this report. They wanted to keep it a little more broadly and wanted to not split hairs over what would be illegal or not. So what they looked at rather was unwelcome or offensive conduct in the workplace that's tied to one of the prohibited categories: sex, race, color, national origin, religion, age, disability, or genetic information, and that it's detrimental to an employee's work performance, professional advancement, or mental health.
Something in the report that I found very disconcerting is that harassment often still goes unreported.
Those numbers were quite staggering, I think. Of those who report it internally, it's only 1/4 of the people who have suffered harassment actually even report it internally. Only 15% of those who suffer harassment go outside to the EEOC.
And why? They don't think they're believed? They think there'll be some sort of retaliation? What are the reasons?
They found there's 60% of the people who reported it were retaliated against.
Oh my goodness.
So that retaliation, not being believed. I mean, I think we saw in the press the more recent allegations made in reference to Uber and the former engineer that worked there. She had a litany of examples of where she had taken her issues to management and how they hadn't been looked at and addressed, and the fact that she had been retaliated against.
Yeah, not only inaction, but retaliation from the other angle. Okay, so the report talks about a compelling case just in terms of business. Forget the moral and the right thing to do. In the business aspect, this is costing money.
Huge numbers. And if you take that 15% who's gone outside, those numbers just in the last year, employers paid $125 million to settle those claims. Over 5 years, it's been $700 million. That's just for that small percentage. And that's probably the tip of the iceberg, because the real cost comes in, what's the impact on workers in the workplace who are suffering under this harassment? So their productivity is down, they have health issues, it impacts their coworkers, and ultimately, and the biggest cost really is they quit. And the most expensive thing to do for an employee, particularly if it's a valued one, is to replace them. The standard number put on that is 1.75 times the annual compensation for an employee.
Interesting.
So if that's what it's costing you each time someone leaves, and it's not just the person who's the target often who leaves, it's the people who work around them and say, if this goes on in this employer, I'm out of here.
All right, so obviously the situation has not improved to the extent that most would like to see it improve. What needs to, as far as training, what needs to change? Give us some recommendations.
Sure,
from the
and
report.
I think they came up with some really good ones, and one is to make sure that the compliance training, the traditional training that we think of, is good. It's engaging, it's live, it's really focused on that one particular workplace, those things that we're probably used to. One of the other ones is to look at what's bystander intervention training, which is similar to what's being used on college campuses to fight sexual assault. And it's really training coworkers, people in the work environment to recognize what sexual harassment is, be empowered to report it, and reward them if they do, so that people who see it, coworkers and all that, they have a means to report it, so that it's kind of like we're all in this together.
Yes.
And we're going to resolve it together rather than the target being out there on their own.
So that's interesting, bystander training.
Yep.
This has not really been involved in the past, has it?
Not at all, not at all.
So the idea is to change the training, but the training has to be more preventative, correct?
Correct. And the other one is engaging in more civil treatment training, so that it's really a matter not so much as we're going to train you to think differently about what is harassment, what's prohibited. It's about training you to understand, if you're going to work here, this is how you behave. This is how you respect one another. This is how you treat one another. And so that if you learn how to treat one another in the workplace, you're not going to run into issues of harassment as a result.
And when we're talking, again, we're not just talking about folks who made slights here and a slight there. You're talking about actionable offenses, actionable things that go on in the workplace, as you say, that could result in Civil Rights Act violations.
Correct. And that, it starts at the lower level, or maybe a few things, and it builds. And what they found in the study is that the people who engage in that type of behavior, it tends to build into something that does become illegal.
But that's interesting when you say starts at low. I thought you were going a different direction. But leadership, accountability with leadership, that's critical.
One of the huge findings that they had in the study is that I think we all know that to really prevent harassment in the workplace, you've got to have the message from the top leadership, from CEO down, that this will not be tolerated. I think everyone gets that. But the piece that's been missing, I think, is that the second piece of leadership is the frontline leaders. They have to take responsibility for stopping it when they see it, if it's reported to them, dealing with it appropriately, taking it forward. It's those frontline leaders that they found the biggest gap in not working to end harassment.
30 seconds here. What do we take from this report?
I think we take that we need to change what we're doing. Employers need to really take a holistic approach to preventing harassment, take a top-down from their leadership, get their leadership engaged, frontline and the top leadership, get a clear policy in place, get that communicated, have the reporting procedures, something that the employees are comfortable with and understand and work.
Yes.
And then have the training, as we talked about, and get creative and figure out and test things, figure out, and don't just go by some check off the box approach.
All right, very interesting. Good to have you here. Thanks for
Good to be
joining
here.
us. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And on the next Arizona Horizon, hear about a plan that could pump $1 billion into the state's universities, and a new report shows that Arizona's higher minimum wage will have a negligible impact on the state's budget. That's the next Arizona Horizon. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Arizona Horizon here on Arizona PBS. I'm Alice Ferris. You know, when you watch programs like Arizona Horizon, you know